allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In this new year, let us all try to hear with open minds and open hearts, diversified opinions, and do our best job for creating a new future for the town of Fort Myers Beach. Amen. First of all, we need a motion, LPA members, to allow Dawn Sudduth to participate by telephone. If I could have a motion and a second, if you
So
agree.
moved.
There's a motion by Jane and a second by Jim. Is there any objection to the motion? The motion passes unanimously. Dawn, you can hear us?
Chair Saracita,
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, super.
can you do a roll call, please?
A roll call? Yes. So members present,
Doug Ekman.
Pat Vaness.
Jane Plummer?
Anita Saracita,
Jim Bowen. Scott Safford.
And Dawn Sudduth is participating
Dawn Sudduth.
virtually by
Thank you.
virtue of the motion. My name is Nancy Stuparich, and I'm serving as the town attorney today.
I'm Amy Baker, Town Clerk.
Sarah Probst, Planning Manager.
Sorry, that's as far as it goes, Jason.
Jason Smalley, Senior Planner.
thank you. We do have a couple of changes to the agenda right at the outset. I'd like you to know two of the hearings that we have scheduled have requested continuances. So with the permission of the LPA, I'm going to move number F up. We'll open the public hearings in the event that somebody has a comment to make because you all are here present today. But then we will entertain the motions to continue those. The first thing, though, we have public comment in general. Does anyone have any comment outside of any of the cases that are on our agenda?
Madam Chair, the second item that was going to be continued, you identified F. Is it A on the agenda? That item as well?
Item A and item F, yes.
Thank you.
No public, yes, sir? Yes, sir, that's going to be continued, but we will open the public comment, the public hearing, because so many of you are here to speak on that. Okay? Yes, sir.
Chair, we have
Um,
one for Rude Shrimp, but he wished to speak at the public comment, not during the item.
Okay, very good.
So,
Oh,
yep, so
I've asked for general public comment and there is none.
No, he
what
does.
there is, I have
Oh.
one.
Oh, okay, Dale.
Dale Bonema.
Okay, they all want to do it.
It might be prudent to tell them that it won't be part of the record if it's in general.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Dale and Jay Bonema, 725 Matanzas Court. So apparently the Rude Shrimp zoning violation will continue into month 8 while they scramble to get compliant. Or maybe it's a case of bending the rules so they can forcefully remain in our quiet neighborhood. Originally, they moved their food truck to Moss Marina last June, and it immediately became a full bar with live music, which is clearly not allowed in a commercial marine zoning district. But week after week, month after month, day after day, soon to be 7 days a week. So there's really no reason to grant Rude Shrimp a special exception. I guess there's several other properties with the proper zoning available in the downtown and retail areas. The Felipe's building, for example, has a for rent sign. There's no reason they have to go in our neighborhood. If we were to start renting out RV lots on our beachfront property, would you be willing to grant us a special exception to help our small business? Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Can everybody hear well?
No, I cannot.
You cannot, Doug.
To introduce myself,
Closer to the microphone,
If you'll pull the
please.
microphone close to you. There you go.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Phil Teal. I live at 431 Harbor Court, Fort Myers Beach, right next to Moss Marine, well, 3 houses from Moss Marine. I bought this house in 1995, so I've been there for quite a long time. I am familiar with marina business.
Closer to the mic.
I'm familiar with marina business. I have owned a marina for 50 years. I just sold it. I owned a marina bigger than Moss Marine. It had 100 racks and 300 docks. So I'm really familiar with marinas and stuff and how it's run. It's always been a nice, quiet place down here with the marina. But now that this has moved in, I could see at the beginning where they would have it loud because there's no place else around. But now there are a lot of places opened up and stuff. They should be able to move because we're in a residential area. So it's, I could see because there's residential right there and Moss Marine is right next to it, right on the property. So, and they do play a lot of loud music and they will get worse when later on in February, you know how things are going to go, everything's going to take off, you know. And so it's mainly just a bar with music and it really is disturbing. I can't, when they're playing loud music, I have to turn up my TV on just to hear it with the windows closed inside of the house. It's so loud. And that street is only less than 300 feet long. And when they've been drinking there at the bar and stuff and coming out, it's kind of like a racetrack to see how fast they can go down that street to turn the corner. I know what it's like. I've been, you know, to bars and stuff. The more you drink, the louder you want the music and stuff. So, but they don't seem to care type of stuff. So I know it's going to get worse and worse, especially when the Coast Guard station leaves. They're talking about moving it back even closer. So it's even going to be worse yet. And the speakers are aiming right at our houses and right at Dale's house too. So we get, you know, when over the water and at night and stuff, how the sound really carries, it gets really bad. And like they go from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night, you know, and it's really irritating. You don't mind it every once in a while, but it could be like that all the time. So, and it's definitely not zoned there because a marina, I'm sure, isn't zoned for bars with loud music. So they're kind of doing against the violation of what it is, you know, type of thing. So, and there's a lot of the property in there. Other people would probably be complaining, but all the houses are gone. There's nobody there. They're all empty, you know, they're being rebuilt back. So when they come back, I'm sure people would know it. And the person next door to me was going to try to come to this meeting, but he's from Connecticut and he's snowed in, so he couldn't make it. So, but a lot of people are concerned today, right around our area. So,
Well, thank you very much for your comments, sir. Appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak during public comment in general? Thank you very much. Public comment is closed. The first of our public hearings, we actually have CPD, 2 variances, 3 special exceptions. And as I said, 2 have requested continuances. Nancy, do you want to
Yes.
give
Chair,
your speech?
I apologize, but I don't know if the minutes were approved from the last meeting. Did we skip over that?
No, they were not. May I have an approval for the minutes as they were distributed?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have so many scribbles on my agenda here that,
We do have a long agenda today. Madam Chair, members, today we have several items on your agenda, a couple of which are special exceptions, rezoning, and a couple of variances. And preliminary comments are that these 3 type of land use matters are quasi judicial in nature. And for that reason, it requires our public hearing to comply with some procedural requirements that have been established in Florida law and in our land development code. So these quasi judicial proceedings, they are less formal than court proceedings. However, they are more formal than your typical legislative policymaking hearings that you have. And we are required to follow basic standards of due process, and that requires certain notices, the application of the correct standards for review, and decisions that are made on competent and substantial evidence that are presented to you either in written form or through oral testimony. Once this evidence is presented to you, you will evaluate it for each item and then draw a conclusion regarding whether the criteria that was established in the Land Development Code or as in state law is applicable and if it has been satisfied. Competent substantial evidence is not pure speculation or mere opinion. And pure speculation or opinion cannot be considered as competent substantial evidence by the LPA in evaluating each agenda item. However, testimony by professionals who are qualified as experts at the onset of the meeting in a particular area has been considered as competent substantial evidence by the Florida courts, as well as testimony by neighbors and residents of Fort Myers Beach who have fact-based information, such as minutes, surveys, engineering report, or testimony that they are providing based on their personal knowledge and information. So if you intend to speak, those who are present, please keep this in mind. When you come forward, also, we ask that you state your name clearly for the record and whether or not you have been sworn in, your qualifications, or your interest in the matter. And Madam Chair, members, for purposes of efficiency, we'd like to, at the beginning of this hearing, of the public hearings, to go ahead and dispose of a few matters. First, I need to ask the city clerk or town clerk, have all agenda items been properly advertised pursuant to our Land Development Code?
Yes, they have been.
Okay, next, I need to ask if any members of the LPA have a conflict of interest that would prohibit them from voting on any items. This is to ensure that we do have a quorum available to render a decision once the item comes up on the agenda. So are
Dawn?
there any members?
Dawn, do you have a conflict?
No.
Does any other member present have any conflicts?
I do have a conflict on item B. And I have my disclosure form here and I will be recusing myself from voting on that item.
Thank you, Patrick. Anyone else? Okay, Nancy.
Okay, so next, what we need to do is to go ahead and swear in anyone who is interested in providing testimony today on any of the agenda items that we have. And this will include our staff who will be making presentations on behalf of the town.
So anybody who's going to speak on any of the agenda items, would you stand and be sworn in, please?
That includes public commenters.
Anybody at all? You know what? Just for the heck of it, would you all stand up and be sworn in? Because this happens at every meeting. It's an all swear. There you go. Okay.
If you'll all raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right. The whole shebang has been sworn in.
Thank you all very much.
One more housekeeping items. Those of you that did stand, if any of you are intending to provide testimony in the form of an expert, we would like to go ahead and state your qualifications on the record. Our town staff has already been qualified and accepted as experts by the LPA.
I believe Sarah Spector has as well previously been qualified. Have you not, Sarah? Okay, well. De pie, stand up. Anybody else going to be testifying as a expert? Okay, we have a few. I thought you had been, Sarah. I'm sorry. We have a lot of experts. Lord.
Yes, Sarah Spector, attorney with Retzel and Andrus. I have been practicing in Fort Myers in the land use and zoning area for the past 20 years and have significant experience on the town of Fort Myers Beach.
And Sarah, could you identify which item you were going to be an expert on? I think it was F.
Yes, F, the pink shell item.
And does
Thank you,
the
Sarah.
LPA want to accept her or wait and accept everyone?
Yeah.
Or how do you want to do it?
Let's just wait and accept everyone. But you know what I'd like to do? Could we keep a running list so that we know that they've been, and the next hearing, we don't have to go through this?
Yeah,
We can.
we've got another person in the crowd over there, Mr. Moore, that has already been accepted.
Mr. Moore's already been accepted.
So
Happy New Year, Sarah.
I
Happy
think we
New Year.
just
Okay,
keep-
who's
keep
next?
that list.
Thank you, Patrick.
Just to make sure, I have presented before the LPA as an expert, but just to reiterate, my name's Ken Galander. I'm a certified professional planner, been practicing land use and zoning within the state of Florida for over almost 26 years. I've been a certified planner for about 23.
Do you
Thank you,
know
Ken.
which item you?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's item B.
Item B. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Brandon Fry. My last name is spelled Frey. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of Florida and have been an engineer for roughly 10 years now. I'm an expert in land development and surface water management, utilities, those types of items. And I'll be talking about item B as well,
Thank
1301
you.
Estero.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fry. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Elizabeth Fountain with J.R. Evans Engineering, a registered professional engineer and certified floodplain manager. Been practicing here in the area since 1999, so it's been a long time. But I'll be talking about item B as well.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good morning. My name is Brett Moore. I was qualified previously
You
as
were,
a
Mr.
coastal
Moore.
engineer.
Thank you and
Okay,
Happy New
good.
Year. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here today. What item are you going to be
Item
speaking on?
E.
Item B as well.
E.
Thank you very much.
So any
Okay, Nancy.
objection by any LPA member as to the qualifications of any of these individuals to provide testimony regarding the various items at today's hearing?
No objections.
Thank you. We may be ready to go.
That's wonderful, Nancy. Thank you. Okay, so the first item that we're going to open our public hearings with is SEZ 202-30302. It's requesting a special exception for COP which is consumption on premises at 450 Harbor Court. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Are there any ex parte communications to disclose? Doug?
No, ma'am.
Patrick?
Yes, I spoke with the applicant, and it was mostly process oriented when I had the call.
Okay. How about you, Jane?
No.
I have none. Jim?
No ex parte communication.
Scott?
None.
Don, do you have any ex parte communication relative to item A?
No, I do not.
Okay, very good. So Sarah, you're going to be presenting the staff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sarah Probst with Community Development. This morning, we are recommending continuance of this case as we do not have an adequate application at this time. So I'm not sure how you want to handle that on just a vote or open up public hearing, but
We'll open
That's
the
staff
public hearing in
recommendation.
case there's anybody here who'd wish to speak. The applicant, I'm guessing, is not present.
I do not believe so. I have not seen them.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, very much.
Thank you.
Um, Yes, go ahead, Jane.
Sarah, I'm sorry, before you go, since there was no information about this because it was asked for a continuous, I'm assuming this is Root Shrimp Company?
Yes, this will be Rude Shrimp requesting a consumption on premises for that location.
Okay.
Is there a way that, so, when the public sees the agenda produced, they assume, rightly so, that it's going to be presented. Is there a way for us to circumvent this process a little if the application isn't ready or, something like that, that we just don't even advertise it?
So the issue that occurred with this is we had to send out the postcards in advance. We were told that we would have a completed application. It did not
It
come,
didn't come.
and we couldn't move forward. So we had to just change the item rather than just sending out another postcard saying that it wasn't happening. We wanted to
it.
go ahead and open it, continue it, since we'd already sent out the
Okay.
mailings.
I have another question for you. Since they are
Jane, will you pull your microphone down?
since they are asking for consumption on premise, obviously they don't have a permit for it. So should there be a stop of this use until it is permitted?
That would be a management and code compliance question. My apologies. They do not have the allowed use there, and that's the part I can speak to. I don't know how it's being handled
Madam
otherwise by
Chair
the
and,
community.
I
Town
think-
Attorney,
Yes, go ahead.
I've got a question with regards to process. I think, and in due respect to everybody that showed up here, I think if those people want to speak, maybe with the general comments up front, it's one thing, but I'm concerned about having public comment on this issue when staff
The
hasn't
applicant's not here.
presented, the applicant's not here to address any of the issues. I would recommend that we don't talk about this today at all, and that we have that discussion when it's advertised and on the agenda.
Okay, how about if,
Nancy, hold on.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
just see what Nancy says about that.
Well, the applicant knows that it is on the agenda today, so they do have the option to come. I'm certain that they will be reviewing what has transpired, what comments, communications have been made, because this is the opening of a public hearing on this item. The request to continue it has been made. It is your option if you want to take public comment at this time or at a subsequent time. And what I think I heard the vice chair say that she was concerned about a possible code violation.
right,
So Sarah, is that something you can just pass on to management, to the town manager?
I have, and I will.
Okay.
so
So it's in the discretion if you want to.
So let me ask everyone else. Patrick has weighed in. Jane's asking questions, so she clearly wants to speak about it. Doug, how do you feel?
I feel like if we're going for a continuance, I'd rather deal
Wait
with it
and
all
hear
at
it all
one
at
time.
once. Do you agree with that, Jim?
I do.
How about you, Scott?
Quite honestly, I mean, a lot of people came to this meeting. I think their time is valuable and we should respect that. So I'm open to hearing their comments.
So perhaps you just take the comments and hear them, and they're in the record.
And not
And-
comment
and
ourselves.
Yes, and then wait until you get staff's presentation.
Okay.
And then consider them at that time as part of competent substantial evidence in your discretion.
Jane?
I still think that the staff should follow through with the town manager and see if there are code violations
Sarah
that need to
said
be
that she
looked
would
into.
do that. She said,
She
I
have,
have
And I will, thank you. So it needs to be followed up with.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I'll open the public comment. Is there anyone here who'd wish to speak? Yes, Dale.
Dale Bonema, Jay Bonema, 725 Matanzas Court. So how did it get on the agenda? If the application was, is that normal where people just say, oh, we want to bring something up in February and we'll have everything in? So it's just kind of odd that it's on the agenda and then the application's not in. So I don't know if it's something going on at town hall or the applicant, but it just seems a little odd. And so we've spoken with the planning. The planning people are very professional, very helpful, very respectful. But they have told the town manager and other staff that it's not in compliant. So what's the definition of not in compliant? I would say they're in violation. So month after month, week after week, day after day. And as I said, soon to be 7 days a week, the music's going to keep going. And if we were raising hogs in our yard, I don't think we would be granted 7, 8 months of grace. I just can't see it happening. So, and we don't want to be here. We don't want to raise trouble. But it just smells like some kind of selective enforcement or something's going on here where they're just allowed to keep violating. And out of respect, I can't understand why the Rude Shrimp wouldn't just shut their music down. If they want to keep serving liquor, whatever, that's still not compliant, but just some compromise. But no, they won't reorient the speakers. They won't turn the music off. They won't turn it down. They're just coming into our neighborhood. And month after month, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing from us, but we don't know what to do anymore. We don't know what to do anymore. I have medical issues now relating to stress. I was in the hospital all day New Year's Day. They detected an aneurysm. Now it has to be monitored. I'm normally a very calm, quiet person. I don't want anybody even knowing who we are, where we live. But our neighborhood's destroyed. We were the only people on Matanzas Court for most of the year in 2023. And so unfortunately, we have to be involved with this because we're the only neighbors left. So thank you. If there's any way you can stop the music, please stop the music.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public comment portion. And there has been a continuance requested. Amy or Nancy, was there a date specific?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We would ask that
Nancy, you could just call me Anita.
Okay. I'm just so
Thank
used
you.
to Madam Chair. The next LPA meeting is February the 13th. So we would request that the motion include the continuance to be to the February 13th LPA meeting. And the reason for that is it would prevent, it would make it more efficient and we don't have to re-advertise it all.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, to continue SEZ 202-30302 to February 13th LPA meeting?
A quick question though, before we do that. We can reopen the public comment period at the next meeting. Okay. So, so moved on the motion.
Thank you, Patrick. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
There's a motion by Patrick and a second by Jim. Is there any discussion on the motion? In the continuance, do I need a roll call for the continuance?
It would be preferred.
Okay. Dawn, could I have your vote, please?
Yes, in favor.
Scott?
Aye.
Jim?
Yes.
Jane?
Aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
And I. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all, and thank you all very much. The next item is DCI rezoning 202. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it is not.
Item F.
I could just hear the, We're moving item F forward. This is SEZ 202-30226, Pink Shell Resort Pool and Beach Amenities. Are there any ex parte communications? Don, do you have any?
No.
How about you, Scott?
None.
Jim?
No.
Jane?
I did a site visit yesterday and talked to some workers on the project that was ongoing.
Thank you. Patrick?
Yes, I just spoke with the applicant and their attorney today, asking them if they had gotten all the public comments and if they were going to be ready to address those.
Thank you.
None.
Doug? None.
None.
I asked staff the same question about all the public comments. I sent I sent an email asking because there were several, more than several letters submitted, and they concerned me.
Anita, would you like to read the resolution or would you like me?
Why don't you do it, Nancy?
Okay. This item is item F. And as Anita mentioned, the case number is SEZ 20230226, Pink Shell Resort Pool and Beach Amenities. The resolution is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving with conditions special exception SEZ 20230226 to allow reconstruction of a pool deck, cabanas, fence, irrigation system, and chickee huts in the environmentally critical EC zoning district with conditions for the property located at 275/322, 200, and the common element of 192 Estero Boulevard, providing for scrivener's errors, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Nancy. Sarah, go ahead.
Good morning. Would you like me to do, Sarah Prost with Community Development, would you like me to do a complete presentation, or would you prefer that I explain that? I'll do a brief presentation.
I'd like an abbreviated. Yeah, how about everybody else? Abbreviated. Yes, thank you.
JBO LLC has applied for a special exception to replace pool deck, fencing, irrigation, and cabanas and chickee huts at the Pink Shell Resort. The special exception is allowed, or the request is allowed for major accessory structures to be replaced per a recent code adoption. The applicant is requesting a continuance due to a variety of questions and concerns that have come up.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah at the moment? Jane?
Once again, in visiting the site yesterday, I found that there was a lot of the papers had already been set. The pool has been completely redone. It didn't have water in it yet, but it is there. And I think that we should ask staff to check with code enforcement to see if there are violations without permit.
Okay, I will do that. And you may ask the applicant about any of that. There may be some permits. I can tell you that not all the pools are within the environmentally critical zoning district. So they wouldn't have to get the special exception for all components of those pool decks. There's a good deal that is landward of that CCCL.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Sarah?
Good morning again.
Good morning.
For the short people here. Sarah Spector with Retzel and Andrus. As Sarah mentioned, we are asking for a continuance. We did not start receiving the objection letters until Friday, and from one of the other condominiums until 4:30 yesterday. So we thought it would be best, in order to be able to address those concerns, that we ask for a continuance. And we have a meeting set with one of the associations tomorrow. So not on this issue, but we will already be addressing some of those issues. To Ms. Plummer's point, the pool and the pavers that have been set are landward of the CCCL. We're asking for approval by special exception of those improvements that are waterward of the CCCL. So those improvements have not been made yet, and that's what we're asking for approval of with this special exception.
Were there permits
Yes.
gotten for those?
Yes, and I do have Bill Watrulis on behalf of JBO and Captiva Villas here if you had any more specific questions about
And
that.
can you tell me, are there signs on the property? Because I didn't see any
Signs as far as permit signs?
requests.
Oh, variance request?
Mhm.
Well, this isn't a variance.
I mean,
The notice
the
of
notice
public
of
hearing.
public hearing.
That I don't know. I wasn't aware that there was a,
Did they post the property? Can you spell it? Yeah.
We are still working on the sign situation with staff. We sites should be posted starting next month.
They were being posted before. Since the hurricane.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I apologize.
okay.
We'll make sure that that happens for the next
Because
continuance.
nobody on site had any clue what I was going there to see, or, nobody knew anything.
If you have questions next time, if you would either coordinate it through me or Mr. Wachulis, we'd be happy to answer any questions, provide you with a tour, explain.
Well, okay, maybe you could give us your phone number.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Sarah? So Sarah,
Yes.
you've seen, I'm guessing, all the emails that we've received from residents and property owners that are there at Pink Shell or adjacent to the property. You've seen those emails?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to be addressing those concerns with the
Yes, ma'am.
neighbors?
Yes.
Very good. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bill, did you want to say anything? Nice to see you and Happy New Year.
Good morning. Bill White-Willis, President of Boykin Management, and I represent the commercial owner, Bob and Jack Boykin, and the 195 owners at the Pink Shell. As Sarah stated, the work that's being done is seaward side. The big issue that we have, the cheeky huts haven't been started yet. That's on this application. The fence. But, my challenge is I got to put water in the pool, which I didn't need a permit for that. The pool wasn't damaged, but I got a fence around the pool.
That's
So
not a new pool?
it's not, no, it's an existing pool. Wasn't damaged. I mean, they're built on piling, so they didn't get damaged. So I got to fill that pool. And I've got thousands of guests coming to the resort. I got brides that want to have weddings at the resort that are planned for February. I mean, we're doing all we can to get this resort fully back online. And, you only have 25% of hotels back online right now. We're one of the only ones. So we will work with our neighbors. I wasn't aware that they had these concerns, and we'll work with them before the next hearing. But I'd be more than happy to answer
I have
any
another
questions.
Go ahead. Is the beach access fenced off,
Yes.
and will that be opened immediately?
No, I mean, we lost a building that was right next to it. We had to demo that building that was over the 50% rule. The elevations all changed there. We're requesting that beach access to be either vacated or moved. So that's a whole separate item that we're going to address with council.
I think until it's vacated, it should be open to the public. It is
It's not safe right now to walk in that area.
well, I mean, like with all the construction on all the fences circulate the building, not the beach accesses.
The beach access to the north of the property and the beach access to the south of the property are both open. The one in question right now is the one that goes right through the middle of the resort. The only people that use that one are our guests. I mean, nobody else is going and using that access because there's nowhere to park. I mean, it's only an area for us. That beach access, originally, the land across the way was all individual homes that used that beach access to access. We own all the land across the street. So, I mean, the fact that it's not safe to go through right now and blocked is really affecting our guests. But if somebody wants to access the beach, the public, the one to the north and the one to the south, sorry, I don't remember the numbers, but they're open.
Bill, have you seen all the emails that we've received?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that we're asking for is existing. The lawn area is larger than the lawn area we had there before, but the 100-year vegetation that was there is gone. I mean, so I understand the concerns of that area is larger, and I'd be more than happy to walk it with the vacation villa and better understand their concerns. But we've had events there before, and we're going to have events there now. I mean, that's a right that we have for it. If the issue is that it's grass versus sand, I'm still having the event. So I think that's where I think just getting clarity on and what we could do potentially for, a vegetation buffer there for them. I mean, those things that, we're willing to talk about. I didn't know there was the concerns until Sarah said Friday.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bill.
My pleasure.
Very much. We'll open the public comment for this hearing. If there's anybody here who specifically wishes to speak at this hearing right now, you could also wait and speak when this comes back. Potentially your concerns could be addressed by the pink shell in that interim period. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Yes, sir. And ma'am. If you'll just say your name for the record, please. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Richard Rowe. I'm the president of Vacation Villa at 100 Estero Boulevard. So
Good morning, Mr. Rowe.
Good morning. First of all, I'd just like to express my appreciation to all the LPA for all your hard work in these difficult times and for helping us all find ways forward.
Thank you.
Thank you also for this continuation of the pink shell special exception application. In our view, this application doesn't meet the requirements of a special exception. So we're not sure why it's being even processed through this route. We were grateful last year for the passing of Ordinance 2313, which helped people like ourselves. Our building was built in 1976 ahead of the 1978 CCCL. So we do have a swimming pool that crosses that line, and us, like about 20 other properties, didn't have a way forward on how to repair our swimming pools, and that change to Ordinance 2313 allowed us a way forward, and the wording was debated and was very clear that it was for repair of existing. What the pink shell are proposing is expansion of the pool deck, addition of a irrigated events lawn, and we're very concerned about that events lawn. It's before there was just a little butterfly garden which was for weddings. Now we're putting up a very big irrigated grass area. They're adding 6-8 chickee huts. Their plan is to expire 2 easements in perpetuity. One of those is the access 42, and one of those is the 36-foot view easement. And both of those were granted in perpetuity as part of their application for the previous development. So all we're seeing here is additional step forward to eliminate what is public right to be able to use these easements, and addition of events, of more features which are not just repair of existing. So we don't see this as being a special exception application. So, and we are concerned about that events lawn because it's now going to be very close to our building, extending out beyond our normal view line from our building. It's likely now to increase noise in our area. We've had a nice quiet residential area, and it's likely to bring in people from outside when, again, we understand the pink shell is, restricted to only use for only for guests of the hotel. So.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your comments. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Holly Baggett, and I'm an owner at 100 Estero. I think my comment about the pink shell development is being down here 9 days, I live in Wisconsin, 9 days after the hurricane. If you look at the views today of that property and ours, we left our vegetation in our berm. It is now growing back. We have sea grapes. They were in there with bulldozers and took out every piece of remaining berm that was there to begin with. And now they have this open lawn that is like free open architecture to change what's not there. So concerning in the write-up about potentially approving this was, it was not supposed to touch any of that to begin with. So if you look at current pictures today, they've eliminated all that. And I'm sure it will be rebermed in the future, which with vegetation and the like, but they tampered with what was existing. In addition, in terms of the public comment, none of us received postcards in the mail. Had we not been watching this, I own 2 properties there. I have no postcards. We have other owners here. Nobody got a postcard. So had we not been on the ball, kind of knowing this was pending based on the prior development proposal for the Bayside, where some of these same perpetuity items were granted because of allowing the 8 stories on the Gulf side, how were we supposed to know to comment? So mail is terrible nowadays. So I don't know if that's how it's being disseminated. I don't know of an owner that said they got a postcard, and we have 30, like it got delivered. So just as a future reference to the town. And once again, we appreciate the exception process. Our pool is halfway through. We are going to come before you probably in a couple of weeks, I believe, to hopefully be able to just put our water back in our pool because it lies across the CCCL.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll follow up on the postcard
Yeah,
issue for you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Public comment. There's been a requested continuance. Nancy, is it to a date certain?
Yes, ma'am.
February 13th as well? May I have a motion to that effect, please?
I so moved.
Seconded.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Jane. So there's a motion to continue this hearing to February 13th. There's been a motion and a second. Dawn, your vote?
Yes, in favor.
Scott?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Amy, can you remember later to address the mailing issue?
Today, address.
Well, address it if you don't have an answer today, just something to follow up on. Thank you.
Got it.
Okay. The next hearing is variance 202-302. No, it's not. DCI rezoning. If you could see my scribbles here. DCI rezoning 202-30160. This is 1301 Estero Boulevard. It is a CPD, a commercial plan development with deviations for the redevelopment of a convenience store, the 7-Eleven, at 1301 Estero Boulevard. Are there any members who have ex parte communications? Dawn?
No ex parte.
Okay. Scott, any ex parte?
I do not.
Jim?
No.
How about you, Jane?
No.
Patrick? Oh, you're recused from
just
this.
to reiterate, my firm is representing the applicant,
Oh.
and I will be recusing myself.
Thank you. How about you, Doug?
No, ma'am.
I don't have any either. So thank you very much. And Sarah?
Good morning. Sarah Probst with Community Development. The neighborhood company, on behalf of 7-Eleven, the property owner for 1301 Estero Boulevard, has applied for a commercial plan.
Sarah, we cannot
No?
hear you.
Now?
Better.
Okay. And hold on. The neighborhood company, on behalf of 7-Eleven, the property owner for 1301 Estero Boulevard, has applied for a commercial plan development rezoning to redevelop the property on the corner of Palermo Circle and Estero Boulevard with a convenience store. The downtown zoned property was the site of a 7-Eleven prior to Hurricane Ian. A convenience store is allowed by right in the downtown zoning district. However, the request requires several deviations from the Land Development Code for site design. The proposed development requires a deviation from Section 34-706D to allow access from Estero Boulevard and Palermo Circle. The code requires that a site has access to a secondary street and Estero. That if a site has access to a secondary street and Estero, the access must be from the secondary street. The applicant is requesting 2 entrances, one on Estero and one on Palermo. A deviation from section 34-2013A3 to allow curb cuts wider than 25 feet. The proposed driveway curb cuts are 60 feet on Palermo and 35 on Estero Boulevard. A deviation from the vehicle access separation requirements of section 10-285 to allow entrances closer to Estero Boulevard and an adjacent driveway, as well as closer to Palermo and Santos. This is a fairly common deviation request in the town. A deviation from section 34-706A to allow parking in front of a building. A deviation from 34-2020D to 1I1 to allow 8 parking spaces where the code would require 14. The number of parking spaces proposed actually matches up with the downtown parking reduction. However, the reduction has to be requested because the CPD zoning does not include the reduction from the downtown zoning district. A deviation from 34-705A1 to reduce the required commercial building frontage from 50% to 43%, and a deviation from section 34-2015-5, which does not allow vehicles to back into a right-of-way to allow the northernmost parking space to back into the Palermo right-of-way. The proposed development request should be evaluated according to section 3485B and C and 34216 of the LDC. The deviations must be approved, modified, or rejected per the findings in section 34216-4. Staff's application of these evaluative code sections to the proposed development are found in the staff report. Staff notes that the parking space that backs into the Palermo Circle right-of-way causes a safety concern, and a condition has been proposed to ensure that drivers are aware of their surroundings when backing out of this parking space. Staff is available for any questions you may have, and the applicant is also here.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Are there questions for Sarah? Dawn, do you have questions?
No questions. Thank you.
No questions. How about you, Doug? Questions for Sarah?
I don't have any questions. I just would like to comment that being familiar with this 7-Eleven store that was there, I think this is, my personal opinion, is this a huge improvement.
It's what?
A huge improvement.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug. Comments, Jane, or questions for Sarah?
Not at this time.
Jim?
No.
Scott?
Through code, how many parking spots do they need to have?
By the code that has to apply to a CPD, they would be required 14. If you were to apply the reduction in the downtown zoning district, they would need to provide 8, which they are providing. So technically they are meeting the downtown zoning district, but because it's a CPD, we can't apply the downtown zoning district, so they have to ask for a deviation from it. So they are providing what properties around them would be providing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Sarah. I don't have any questions at the moment.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to make their presentation? Thank you, Ken.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Ken Galander, for the record, have been sworn in with the neighborhood company. We do have a presentation, so I know we're in a different orientation here. So
We'll all do the best we can.
okay, that's what. And if you need me to go back, and we'll just play it as we go, right?
Thank you, Ken.
All right.
Would anyone like to switch spots with us so you
I'm
can
good.
see it better? Okay.
I can see it fine. Thank you.
So
Everybody's way.
Okay.
So obviously appreciate the opportunity to be before you again. And our team here is really excited that we're able to bring before you another business that has been in the town for a long time. And we're excited to work through this rezoning with staff. We appreciate their support and working with them to get to this point. So obviously I have a little presentation, so let's move through this. Just again, the project team, the property owner 7-Eleven Inc. Again, the neighborhood company is the planning firm. We have representatives here from J.R. Evans Engineering, Brandon Fry, and Elizabeth Fountain. And then with Creighton Construction and Development, Ms. Lauren Brown and Kelly Frost here to help answer any questions that we may have. Presentation overview, just quickly, the background request, a little discussion analysis, and findings and conclusion. I know Sarah did an excellent job of prefacing a lot of this, but so bear with me. It's a single parcel, relatively a small parcel under 1/4 of an acre, again at the intersection of Estero and Palermo. Future land use category of the property is pedestrian commercial. And as Sarah mentioned, the existing zoning is downtown. The prior use, as we've said, it was a 7-Eleven convenience store. The property is currently vacant. Surrounding uses, we obviously have the Estero and Palermo rights of way. We have multifamily residential, commercial, and some parking lots. This is an aerial photo, obviously pre-storm, pre-Ian, just to kind of clarify some aspects of what was existing on the property. A building set away from Estero Boulevard, parking surrounding both you'd call that the northwest side, along the southwest side as well, and backing into the rights of way as it existed before. One other component, significant driveway widths accessing onto Estero and Palermo Circle. So again, the request is just quickly rezoning from downtown to commercial plan development. As Sarah mentioned before, the downtown zoning district does allow for convenience retail stores by right. What is being proposed under the rezoning is a maximum store of 3,500 square feet under the future land use category. The FAR of 1.0 could allow use up to 10,677 square feet. 2 access points, one onto Estero and Palermo Circle. And the intent is to improve upon what previously existed, reducing or eliminating any of the nonconformities that were on the site, and under the latest FEMA standards and requirements for flood zone. So in order to do this redevelopment, it was deemed appropriate that we work through the process for a commercial plan development to allow for the flexibility to redevelopment, especially in light of the unique aspects of this. Oh man, what did I just do? Poof.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Of course, there's always something, right? Of the unique aspects of a triangular, relatively unique shaped property that we're dealing with. So again, the location just a 1/4 mile east of Times Square, as we know, is a significant core area of Fort Myers Beach, a heavily traveled and a walkable area of the town. And stated just a little bit ago about the unique property and the design challenges that the engineering team and the team has been working through to be able to redevelop a convenience store that's meeting as many of the land development code regulations and the goals, objectives, and policies. And in order to have this commercial use back, we feel it's complementary and maintains its compatibility with the surrounding properties. Obviously, the convenience store existed without any negative impacts before. So utilizing the setbacks, achieving the build 2 lines, any buffering that we could add, open space and site design, we feel it further ensures the compatibility of the convenience store. This is the master concept plan that staff, that we presented and staff has reviewed. Few aspects that we want to identify. The access point to the south along Estero is significantly reduced in width, and along Palermo Circle, that is an additional or reduced in width driveway access. You can identify, as Sarah mentioned, as part of our deviation, the parking space, most northerly parking space. That is where we are agreeable to the condition to help people understand that this is a unique situation where you're parking. So be aware of how your surroundings and maneuvering through the property. The building location is now oriented, portion of it to Estero Boulevard, and following the aspects of trying to promote more of the walkable aspect of it. The proposed development has a designated connection now onto the Estero Boulevard sidewalk to the building's entrance. We've also included to promote the multiple modes of transportation that we're trying to seek in the town, additional bicycle parking that are specifically placed and identified that are easily accessible by bicyclists. And this property also has a dedicated dumpster service area where before it was integrated within the parking area. Staff went through the aspects of consistency with the LDC, 3485 B and C, as well as section 34216. We believe it's appropriate request to enable this redevelopment. Again, not to beat this horse, but the unique property due to the impacts of Hurricane Ian. We feel we're consistent with the comprehensive plan, the goals, objectives, and policies contributing to redevelopment within the town. The commercial use is consistent with the pedestrian commercial future land use category, and we're compliant with the requirements of the floor area ratio. Promoting a pedestrian-friendly site design, the building orientation and location, architectural design standards, bringing a newly more attractive, up-to-date structure, and obviously resilient that will meet flood zone requirements. And as stated before, a compatibility with the surrounding commercial and higher density residential of the town. These are the architectural elevations submitted with our application, orienting the elevation on the bottom is the orientation towards Palermo Circle. Top one is what is proposed along Estero Boulevard. As you'll see that there is a consideration, and it was in your staff report and proposed, of contributing to, it seems like there's more murals and artist aspects being promoted in the town. So 7-Eleven is wanting to work through that process of promoting some murals on the side that's facing Estero Boulevard, and it would be the east side facing the parking lot. This is a architectural rendering of the building as proposed. Further along in compliance with the LDC, reducing the nonconformities, again, improving the pedestrian safety, improving the vehicular maneuvering and circulation through the property. Again, the driveway widths have been reduced, additional open space, development standards, and obviously the new building will meet Florida Building Code and FEMA standards. Urban services obviously exist and were supported by the prior convenience store. Redeveloping the convenience store on this site will not negatively impact the traffic. Due to the existing development, there are no environmentally critical areas and natural resources. And as stated before, convenience store is appropriate in this location of this core portion of the town. Sarah, staff appreciate going through the deviations, but overall they're to achieve the objective of our plan development to help redevelop this property. We feel there's no negative impacts on the public's health, safety, and welfare. And this redevelopment just helps to ensure we bring back a business that has been seen in the community for decades. And we feel the deviations are consistent with the comprehensive plan. So we are in full agreement with the staff report and recommendation of approval with the stated conditions. And we certainly respect request of recommendation by the local planning agency and that the town council approve the proposed rezoning as submitted. There was just an aspect of a little housekeeping item. In your packet, our narrative was our original narrative. Of course, we get comments and we work through the process, and staff's been very helpful. We obviously wanted to update our narrative, and there was a second submittal. We do have copies of that narrative. No significant alterations to that narrative, just clarifying more of the details from the comments. Staff has acknowledged that we discussed it earlier with Sarah. She acknowledges that, yes, that narrative was reviewed and it is supported still by the recommendation. I don't know if Sarah wants to speak to that anymore, but I just wanted to be transparent about ensuring that, and I have copies of that narrative if need be.
Would anybody care for a copy of that? Or at least for the record, Amy is saying. So Ken, if you'll give Amy a copy.
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't differ from anything you've just told us, correct? Thank you.
And the packet you got, it was the original application that was put into there. I just failed to include the additional submittal with that.
Let's not call it a failure. It's just, it's what happened. Thank you very much, Ken.
Yeah.
Anything
Be
else?
happy to.
Thank you.
No, we're happy to answer any questions.
So members of the LPA, I just want to, I've gotten a couple of messages that it's difficult to hear everyone. So if you could just make sure that you speak clearly into the microphones. We're doing the best we can here with what we've got. So questions, Doug, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Jane, any questions for the applicant?
No questions.
How about you, Jim?
The proposed mural on the south wall. The proposed mural on the south wall. Any concept? Is it going to be advertising or is it going to be something generic to the beach?
So great question. And I do have some conceptual slides that 7-Eleven and that they're working on.
Can we see them?
Yep. So
And I can also state that they would not be allowed to use any sort of advertisement as that would be considered a
could be
sign.
signage.
Yes.
right. So this intent for these murals will obviously have to go through staff review let me shift to the next slide. So the larger mural would be along the portion of the facade facing the parking lot, and the Times Square clock mural would be facing Estero. So that's the initial thoughts. So, and then yes, if the signage is deemed needing to meet a requirement, they would have to meet code for commercial
Ken?
use. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to say something that, there is, we do have some examples of some beautiful murals that have been done. We also have some that I'm like, oh, what the heck. So I hope that this will lean towards the painted versus airbrush t-shirt look.
Understood.
Just saying that.
Yep.
Okay.
Comment
Probably-
noted. Yes.
That's a matter of taste, I know, and having been somebody who made quite a lot of money airbrushing t-shirts at one point in my life, it's
Understood.
a different look.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Ken?
It's Fort Myers Beach, not Fort Myers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Noted.
Any other questions for
Glad they're conceptual.
for the applicant? Your presentation was excellent. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Do you have
all.
anybody else who wishes to add or?
Our team doesn't, but we are available to
Very
further
good.
answer any more questions.
Thank you, Ken. I'll open the public hearing portion, the public comment. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak to this project? Hearing none, I'll close that. Are there any questions from members of the LPA for staff or the applicant?
Not me.
Don, do you hear me? Do you have any questions for the staff or the applicant?
I hear you and no questions. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no questions, would someone wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the staff recommendation with the conditions of approval that are in the,
And the 7 deviations.
Ma'am?
And the 7 deviations.
the deviation. Yeah. I've,
And the
yes.
deviations. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
So the motion is for approval, accepting the staff's recommendations with conditions and deviations. There's a second on the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Doug, your vote?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jim?
Yes.
How about you, Scott?
Aye.
Don Suddeth?
Aye.
And my vote is aye. Patrick Vaness is recused from this. Thank you very much. Thank you for an excellent project and an excellent proposal and presentation. It was very good, very thorough. Thank you. Next item on the agenda. Is variance 202-30233 11 Palmview Avenue. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving with conditions or denying a variance 202-30233, requesting a variance from the LDC, that's the Land Development Code, Section 34-638D1G, which requires new at-grade mechanical equipment to not encroach into a side yard setback and to be located on the side of the property with the larger setback, where there are differing side setback widths for the property located at 11 Palmview Boulevard, providing for clarifications as necessary, providing for conflicts of law, Scrivener's errors, severability, and providing for an effective date. Are there any LPA members with ex parte communications? Scott?
Yes, I had conversations with both Paula Kiker and Chuck Bodenhofer on the applicant's behalf.
Thank you very much. Jim, any?
No ex parte communication.
I have none. How about you, Jane?
None.
Patrick?
None.
And Doug?
None.
Don, do you have any ex parte communication?
No ex parte.
Okay, very good. Thank you all. Sarah?
Good morning, Sarah Probst with Community Development. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Certainly can.
Robbie Robinson, owner of 11 Palmview Boulevard, has applied for a variance from Section 34-638D1G, which requires all new equipment to be elevated or to meet the required side yard setback. And when one side yard is wider than another, the equipment must be placed in the wider side yard. The property owner had a new pool and pool equipment installed in 2021. The initial site plan showed pool equipment in the correct location at the rear of the house. The zoning reviewer approved that initial site plan submittal, but another reviewer failed it. The next submittal moved the pool equipment to an incorrect location, encroaching in the side setback. However, the zoning reviewer had already completed their review and did not review this site plan. The pool equipment and the pool permit was approved. The pool equipment was installed, and it was not until the final inspection occurred that the staff realized the equipment was installed in the incorrect location. The property owner was unaware of any problem with the pool equipment until the final inspection. The applicant has applied for a variance to allow the equipment to remain in the location that it was installed due to an error not of his doing. The equipment encroaches 3.3 feet into the required 7.5 foot side yard setback. The equipment is 4.2 feet from the side property line. An easement is shown on the survey. However, this appears to be an error as there is a stormwater easement on the opposite side of the property. Staff proposed a condition that would, staff proposed and the applicant agreed to a condition that would require the equipment to be moved at the cost of the owner if there is a need for the utility easement to be accessed. I'm available for any questions you may have, and the applicant, I believe, is also here.
Sarah, do you know, is there a utility easement?
It does not appear that there is. It appears that there's an error because there is one on the opposite side of the property. We were unable to reach the surveyor and the applicant was unable to, or the property owner was unable to reach the surveyor either.
Excellent. Okay. Questions for Sarah? Scott?
None.
How about you, Jim?
No.
Jane? Nope. Patrick?
Nope.
Doug?
No, ma'am.
Any questions from you, Dawn?
No questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
And the applicant? Was that a deep breath sigh like, ah?
My hip hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good morning.
morning.
Robbie Robinson, 11 Palmview Boulevard.
Happy New Year, Robbie.
You too.
Thank you.
And like Sarah mentioned, this has been going on for over 3 years. My fourth pool on the island. This is the first time something like this happened to me. It was a nightmare. Where do I start? After the first thing that they said to me, Tropical Pools, was I needed a water runoff survey, which I got. I paid $550 for that. It came back and it showed it where the pool equipment is right now, and you guys approved it. The town approved it. Then the next step, they set the equipment, you guys came out and approved that. And I thought it was going fine, went to the fourth pool, never had a problem. And the final inspection came and boom, denied. So.
Here you are.
Yeah, so here I am, $1,800 later, so. But I can answer any questions you have for me. And I'll do my best.
We'll see if you have any questions. Thanks, Robbie. Scott, you have any questions for Mr. Robinson?
I do not.
How about you, Jim?
No question.
Dawn, any questions for the applicant?
No, no questions.
Jane, any questions?
The neighbor on the side where this is located has not had an issue with noise
No.
or anything since it
No.
was put in, and it has been running over the years.
It's
and-
been running for, well, they installed equipment, Tropical Pools was paid in full, and my pool sat unfinished for 2.5 years. So I had to hire somebody else to finish it. And Lou, my neighbor, it's his equipment set, we set 5, 6 feet apart, 7 feet apart, right there on a small subdivision, very old.
And is
So-
he the person that wrote a letter in?
Yes, I have 2 letters that stated the equipment's always been there. It's where you guys approved it, and yes.
And do you have any idea what it would cost to have to move it?
I had a quote from Gulf Coast Pools, I think it was, and it was, I'm kind of guessing here, 3,500, 3,800 to move it.
Any
I went through
questions?
the permitting system
ma'am.
to figure that out.
Yeah.
Dawn, did I ask you if you have any questions?
You did, and I don't have any. Thank you.
Okay, still, Liz.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll open the public comment. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak to this case? Mr. Bodenhofer. Yeah, well, you know, it's respectful. Happy New Year, Chuck.
That's really good. Thank you. I don't get called Mr. very often.
Hold
Yeah.
on. Chuck, will you pull the mic down to you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Better?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
I should testify as an expert because I'm more than 50 miles away from my original home. But anyway, just as a little background, I got to tell you, I served 19 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals in Allen County, Indiana. I served 16 years on the Plan Commission, chair and president of most of that time. But anyway, I also served one term on the LPA here in Fort Myers Beach. I think that his request for the variance is well within the parameters of what you can justify. And it's, how many inches is that, Robbie? And so how many inches is that from what was requested?
Chuck, you have to you just have to.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. If you'll just,
Well, anyway, I think it's just a matter of a few inches that he is within that now. So I think it's well within what you could normally do. We hear a reverberation as I'm really close to the mic. I don't
we
know.
hear it too.
You hear it too? All right. But anyway, so it's my request that you support this variance for him and recommend it to the town council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chuck.
Chuck, we all, over here, we all know you, but can you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did,
I think you did. But
Chuck Bodenhafer, 5870 Estero Boulevard,
thank you.
Fort Myers Beach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just in reference to the other Fort Myers. You know.
All right.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, good morning. Happy New Year. I'm a resident. I live in Fairview Isles. I've
And your
been
name
there.
is?
My name is Dale Snow.
Nice to see you, Mr. Snow.
And so I did receive the notification, so that process at least worked here. And I would vote in, I would ask for your consideration and approval of this as well. I do think that, you know, it should be done. I mean, when you look at even his air conditioning unit, this is closer to his home than his existing air conditioning unit. So in terms of creating a new obstruction of view or anything like that, that's not the case. Robbie didn't say it. He said it, has said it to me, but Lou, the next door neighbor, he has a notarized copy of his approval. And he was going to be available for a call this morning if that would need to be entertained. So on behalf of the neighborhood, I would say that most people, all people I know that are aware of the situation would say, let's get this done.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
comments. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you all. May I have a motion for approval, please?
I would make a motion to approve with the subject to the conditions recommended by the staff.
There are two conditions.
I'll second that.
And there's a second. So there's a motion for approval with the two conditions as recommended by staff. There's a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Doug, your vote?
Aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Don Suddeth?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Finito.
Get that water in the pool.
Thank you, guys. Next item on the agenda is, does anybody want to take a quick break or are you good to keep going? Oh, Jim's taking a break. Well, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. It might be 10.